Hey guys, so I just wanted to share some stuff that happened to me during my most recent hospitalization. I had another mini stroke, and um, obviously, if you guys have been watching my Instagram and YouTube channel for a while, then you know that I am deaf. Um, I've been hard of hearing since I was young, and I recently crossed the threshold into what is considered legally deaf. Um, so I'm able to hear certain sounds and stuff without my hearing aids, but for the most part, unless I'm wearing hearing aids, I can't really understand without reading lips. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of back information before I start telling you this story. So now to get into what actually happened. So I was having symptoms of another stroke. I couldn't move the right side of my body, and I just felt really weak, and parts of my body were numb and tingling, and just overall uncomfortable and scary stuff. So, in the ER, thank God I had somebody with me because a lot of people, it was a lot of stuff going on. When you come in on a brain alert, which is what the hospital that I've gone to every time I've had a stroke says when someone comes in having any type of stroke-like symptoms, they put them on a brain alert. So you have like a whole team of people coming in. It's like doctors, nurses, x-ray, CAT scan, MRI, everybody's there. You're getting everything done right away. They have the IV team there and everything. And so there's just so many people coming in and out asking me questions, trying to figure out what's going on. When did my symptoms start? In case they had to give me like a clot busting medication, TPA. So the ER was okay. I had somebody with me. I had somebody with me when they admitted me up to the neuro floor. But up on the neuro floor is when I really started having problems, because it was like people either couldn't understand that I was deaf and what that meant, or they just didn't bother to listen or pay attention to what I was trying to tell them. Because most of the nurses and doctors that dealt with me, they would come in, they wouldn't be making eye contact or anything like that. And they would just like be talking and have their back turned to me. And like what I do is I rely a lot on a person's lips, so I'm able to lip read a little bit. But like I said, for the most part, I need my hearing aids to have a meaningful conversation. And I didn't have my hearing aids because like they wouldn't stay in my ears. So I don't know. But the person that was with me, which was my boyfriend, he was with me. He basically told them, she's deaf. She needs you to make eye contact when you're talking to her. And, she needs you to slow down and make sure that you are facing her when you're asking her questions and making sure that she understands. Because a lot of them, like, if I wouldn't answer because I didn't hear them ask the question or something like that, they would look at him and, ask him the question. But, like, you should be talking to me. I'm the patient. Like, I should be understanding what's going on. Or like they would give me a medication and they would tell him what the medication was and what it was for, but they wouldn't tell me what it was for. So it was really, really irritating and frustrating. And eventually it got to the point where I was basically fed up, and I asked to speak to the charge nurse. And I feel like this is why I got discharged when I did, because I feel like I got discharged way too early, like before I was ready to be discharged, because I couldn't swallow anything. And, I had to have thickened liquids and everything. I had to have soft foods, and it was just really irritating because, like, I was not ready to go home. I could barely walk, and yes, it is part of my MS, and I've had this, this would have been, this was my third stroke since 2017. So, And this happened in November of 2018. So, it's irritating because if I'm telling you that I'm deaf and that you need to make eye contact with me, then you need to look at me and you need to slow down and you need to make sure that you're communicating with me. I'm the patient. Don't just, don't even bother to look at me and just look at whoever else is in the room. How do you know that they know what I'm dealing with, or if I'm in pain, or if I'm allergic to a certain medication or anything like that? Like, it could just be a friend or somebody from church who came to visit me, and you're just gonna, go right past me and ask them, or talk to them about what's going on with me. It's just really frustrating. And after I talked to the charge nurse, I told him, what my issues were. And I even asked, is there any way that you can put a sign either on the door of my room or like somewhere in the room where people can see it, that I'm deaf and they need to make eye contact with me? Put it in my chart, something, because it's ridiculous if you can't communicate with me. I'm trying to communicate with you and I'm trying to tell you the things that I need and what's going on with me, but it's just really frustrating. And I think that was honestly one of the worst experiences I've had, since getting to the threshold of being legally deaf. I don't really have people who have judged me for being deaf. At this point, I haven't really had a lot of other experiences. I've had a couple people like make little comments at work and things like that, or think that I'm joking because of the way that I'm able to talk and communicate. But it's because I haven't been, legally deaf my entire life. That's why I'm able to communicate so well. That's why my voice doesn't really sound strange. No offense to people who are deaf and have been deaf their entire lives, who have a little bit of a speech change. It's just because when you can't hear yourself, you can't hear how you talk, you can't form the sounds that a person who doesn't have a hearing problem, who isn't hard of hearing, they are able to connect those sounds with the words that they're saying. So, I don't know. It was just really irritating. And if you are deaf or hard of hearing, or if you're a medical professional, have you ever cared for someone who is deaf or hard of hearing? And if you are deaf or hard of hearing, have you ever had something similar to this happen? What did you do? How did you handle it? I'm sorry, I have a cold. But I just wanted to share my experience with you guys because it was really, really frustrating. And, as healthcare providers, we need to up our game when it comes to dealing with people who have chronic illnesses and other disabilities in general, because I feel like there's such a disconnect between, what people who don't have a chronic illness or a disability are able to do. And it's like they're treated differently, because when you go into the hospital and you tell them that you have a chronic illness or a disability, it's like you automatically get judged and they treat you a different way than they would someone who doesn't have a chronic illness or a disability. So that is the end of my rant. This has gone on far enough. I may make another video talking more about what happened. I actually will, because something happened with the IV team, and just the whole situation with the IV when I was in the hospital. It was ridiculous. And I'll tell you more about that in a separate video, but that's it for now. And I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys again soon.